Hey, so today I'm going to work on an iPad Mini 4 that was sent here for no backlight after an attempted screen replacement. I have worked on the iPad Mini 4 very little. I'm trying to remember what or anything that I've even done to the iPad Mini 4. I believe I've replaced one of the FPC connectors, but I'm not 100% sure. I work on so much stuff. God, who knows? So let's have a look at this one. This thing came in for no backlight after an attempted screen replacement. I'm going to show you what the iPad Mini looks like, as always. Here's our iPad Mini. It's pretty dinged up. And I believe it was open once before. I actually sure wish it was open now because I do not like... actually, that's not even the right... That's not even... Do not like doesn't even come close to the despise I have for opening iPads. And that is why we always tell people to ship them open, which I do appreciate. This one here I'm going to say is pretty well open, right? I'm not used to working on stuff this big. Okay. Now with the iPad Mini 4, the LCD is actually bonded to the digitizer. And what else do we have to deal with here? We've got... Looks like our back camera is going to be stuck here. So what I've done up to this point, I've opened it around the right-hand side. And I don't know if I've ever opened an iPad Mini 4 even loosely assembled. I think the one that I got was board only. It's been a while. Yeah, there's some ugly goop around it here. Looks like it might even be glue or something. I'm not sure. So I'm going to continue to run my blade around it. Very gently. I mean, it's not to the point where I feel like I should be getting out my hot air. Like, I don't feel like I should be heating this up yet. Alright, so we're just going to loosely open this iPad. And we're going to begin having a look. Now I do notice that our one bottom antenna cable is stuck here really well. And notice everything I do here is with excruciating caution. Now I'm not trying to get a camera angle on each opening point here because this channel I'm more focused on board repair. So all I'm doing here, I'm trying to pry loose this iPad Mini 4, probably a Wi-Fi antenna, from the display without tearing it or tearing any of the ribbons. Come loose and don't make me look like a jackass. Okay, that's loose. Now we've got an iPad Mini that we can open. Screen fell off. Perfect. Okay. It's at this point in the repair, you have to ask yourself. You have to turn to yourself and say, Jason, if you were an iPad Mini 4, why wouldn't you have backlight? And with that question, you should be able to come up with a solution to your problem and then be able to repair all of them and fix everything, and then you'll never have to ever have to eat out of the trash can. So let's have a look and see. Let's look and see if I was an iPad Mini 4. Let's look and see why I wouldn't have backlight. So let's hypothetically, let's say I am this iPad Mini 4, and let's get in on this thing with the microscope. Peel back this little sticker. Now I'm going to give you my first impressions here out loud. Here is, I haven't peeled back the sticker yet, but I can tell you, and I've never worked on an iPad Mini for no backlight before either. This is my absolute first time. The iPad Mini 4 anyways. And if we get in here and look, we're going to see this little spot on this black sticker here. See that? That is a melted spot, and you can actually see that it's melted in the shape of a filter. So if I was this iPad Mini 4, I think I would have a blown filter. Look at that. So without even hooking this thing up, without even testing it, just open it up and look at it. Blown filter. To fix this iPad, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be replacing that blown filter, and then we're going to move on and call it a day. So I will be right back. I'm embarrassed. I'm actually robbing this as a donor component. I've managed to start stocking most of the other common caps and filters and inductors and things that I need, but sometimes I bump into a no-brainer and it's like, you got that on the menu and that's not in stock. God, what a dumbass. Alright, so here's our replacement filter. Let's start some rework on this one. This one is actually going to be really easy. I'm gonna put a piece of tape over a couple of things here just so that I don't make any dumb mistakes that ruins my life today. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to lay me a piece of tape right across the whole thing here a little bit. And I'm going to take me a blade. Now I don't trim right to the component that I'm going to be reworking, because if I'm going to use hot air, and on this I probably am, you need quite a bit of the air to make it to the PCB. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace this filter. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of flux to it. Yes, if I was an iPad Mini 4 with a blown backlight, I would say somebody probably shorted my anode, and now I'm blown. Or my anode's blown, I mean, oh god. Okay. There we go. Now I should have plenty of flux there. I'm going to get me a blob of solder on my iron. I'm going to give it a little tiny bit of hot air. And I'm going to touch these pads with my iron. And we should wind up with two... I got debris. There's debris on this one. Alright, it was a piece of the old filter, I think. So we'll do just a tiny bit of flux. And I did a really, really dumb thing on this one. I didn't verify the problem. So... hopefully the blatantly obviously blown backlight filter will alleviate some of that pain if this thing starts up and works properly. But if for any reason I hook power to this and it does not boot, then this becomes a pain in the ass because I didn't verify the problem beforehand. Then it becomes, you know, did it boot before this? You know, so it's really good to verify the problem, guys. All right, we're going to lightly tack this down. I'm going to say right there. I'm going to add a little more flux. This one it's wide open enough I could have just soldered it with the iron. It's a little more barbaric than what we need to be doing this with hot air, because this one, honestly, I probably could have got away with just doing this with the iron. And also, be careful. These speakers melt easy on any iPad. So, unlike I'm doing right now, shield the speaker. Or you might wind up replacing a speaker because of a backlight filter. Okay, let's see if we can set this thing down into place. Without melting the connector, just beyond it. Yeah, little too much heat. I really, this one we would have been better off just use the iron, but we're good. Okay, so we've got our new filter sitting in place. Now, while this thing is as hot as can be, sometimes I'll let them cool off a little bit if there's a bunch of ceramic ICs nearby. This one we're going to give it just a few seconds here, but while it's as hot as can be, that's where I like to clean it up. And you're probably just perfectly fine to stop right there. Because that tiny little bit of flux on the board there's not going to hurt anything. But I am going to go ahead, I'm going to do this one more time with alcohol. And I think right there we're going to call it a day. There is still, you can see kind of a little bit of flux still down in between the components. That's not going to hurt anything. And we are zoomed in quite a long ways here. So the tiny little bit you can see there is even a tinier little bit than you could imagine. So that is going to be an iPad mini 4. We're going to assume that's a backlight filter. I never looked at a schematic. I never checked it. I just looked at it and said, hey, look, it's melted right there. I bet you there's a filter under that, and there was. So let's hook it up and see if we get backlight. And also, as embarrassed as I am to show you this, I would like everybody to know that it's completely normal. Even for somebody, probably even more so for somebody that does this all day, every day. Like, this is all I do. I get up in the morning and I work here at the shop fixing stuff all day long. And even for somebody that does this on a regular basis, some things get to be such a routine. You almost need a checklist that you force yourself to stick to keep yourself from doing anything really, 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 really stupid. And by really stupid, I'm going to show you what I mean. Here's the iPad mini that I just installed a backlight filter on. Does anybody see anything wrong with this iPad mini that should have prevented me from being able to install a backlight filter? Can anybody see anything? Is there anything wrong with this iPad mini that should have caused me to stop and not install a backlight filter on it? Look right here. See this? Step 1. Disconnect the battery. I just did the entire repair on this, and I never, ever disconnected the battery. And this is something that I know that I do, and I'm like religious about it. I mean, like, I'm a compulsive battery disconnector, yet I just did this entire repair with the battery connected. So that's not good. That can be a critical mistake, and I just made it, and I made it during my video. I'm not going to edit that out as long as this iPad works. So let's go ahead. We're going to hook up the display first. If I can find it, they need like a bigger base on these things so that, I mean, seriously, it's got this huge ass plate with this tiny little connector, and I don't just plug in iPad mini digitizer, iPad mini 4 screens all the time. I mean, I've done a shit ton of regular iPad minis, but I haven't done many iPad mini 4s. This is new territory. Okay, so I'm going to say that first one's plugged in. I can easily understand why somebody might blow the backlight. Like, that's a pain in the ass to plug in. But as long as it's straight and it is clipped all the way in, you shouldn't be blowing backlights unless there's something wrong with your screen assembly. That happens too. I see that a lot on the iPhone 6. I'm sure there's a lot of repair shops watching this that really, really, really are paranoid about iPhone 6 screens right now, because there's a bunch of them on the market that tend to work for a couple of weeks and then blow the backlight. I got one sitting here on my shelf that was running hot, I think. Okay, so we've got our screen plugged in as firm as I think it should be. We're going to connect a battery, and we're going to hope to hell that we don't get smoke and fire. Okay, I don't see any smoke and fire. So at this time, we're going to go ahead and we are going to connect a lightning cable. All right, ready? Now remember, this is a backlight repair. I didn't show you prior to fixing it what it was doing wrong because, well, it was obviously screwed. All right, here we go. Prompt it to boot, and we get backlight. Yay, we get backlight. Isn't it pretty? Backlight. So beautiful. So, because I am technically doing a screen replacement, I'm going to hook this thing up to this other screen. I'm going to disconnect the battery first, okay? Then we're going to disconnect the screen here that has the broken LCD. We're going to kick it aside. And then I am going to plug in this new iPad mini 4 digitizer. And it's very tedious to get that lined up because it's such a big connector, and the actual part that plugs in is not that big. It's just a little portion of the bottom of it. Alright, so this one had a nice pop. These two are both popped in really, really, really nice. They don't leave you much extra cable here for flexing the screen. That's really tricky. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to connect the battery now. Okay. Hold this back out of the way. I'm so glad I'm not doing screen replacements right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the shit out of it. It got me to where I'm at now, and I just, you know, I've worked on mountains and mountains and mountains of stuff. I've got boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes full of broken screens, and it got me the experience that I needed to have the confidence to go into the microscope and do some of these repairs and to be able to nail them without tearing a bunch of stuff up. That all started with the bigger hardware replacements and stuff, but whenever it comes to iPad mini screen replacements, I would just... There are a lot of things, a lot of miserable shit that I would rather do than work on and replace the screen on an iPad mini. How many times did you put a screen on an iPad mini and get it all the way back together, and then all the way to that last little eighth of an inch and close it, and then start having ghost touches? Whenever you know damn good and well that you taped off all the conductive areas and you think that you taped off everything that matters. No, on the iPad mini, if you didn't run a piece of tape all the way across the bottom part of this digitizer, I always skipped the home button, but if you didn't run and make sure you had tape going all the way across, when that damn thing had closed, it took on a mind of its own. And when I first started running into this, I had done 10 iPad minis, 15, I don't know how many I'd done. It'd been working out fine, and then all of a sudden, every one that I would do wouldn't work out, and I would want to drive a tool through the digitizer. In fact, I think I did drive a screwdriver through one of these screens, and I wound up finally learning to tape the bottom of it, and it was just, I don't know if I just got lucky for the first 10 or 20 of them or however many, but it got to where unless you taped that bottom, you had ghost touches. So here I am sidetracked. What did we do? Oh yeah, we replaced the backlight filter on this. The first LCD was too busted for actual testing, although it does let us know that we have working backlight. And now we're going to hook the lightning cable up. And we get a charging icon. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to let this thing charge long enough to start up and run. I'm not reassembling this iPad. I'm going to pack the screen really well, as they did. I'll probably loosely fit the old screen to it. It's going back to them with the battery disconnected, and this is going to be a successful repair. This is just a really simple backlight repair. I'm betting that either the LCD got connected with the battery connected, or maybe it didn't get plugged in straight and then the battery got connected. But either way, I'm definitely not going to put myself in the position to fully reassemble this iPad. Because that's just not something that I'm going to do. These things are typically sent here as board only, or with the face off of the iPad. Either one of those is great, but as far as actually disassembling the iPad and reassembling it, I just don't do it. I don't. So guys, that's going to be it for this video. This is a successful iPad mini for backlight repair. Just needed a filter replacement, and really simple repair. So I'm going to get this thing charged up. I'm going to make sure the touchscreen works and make sure that I don't think they're going to have any problems whenever it gets it back. And I'm also going to put their little sticker back on it, because that little sticker actually told me right where the burnt filter was. So no brain work at all on this one. Hey everyone, I hope you have successful repairs, and I will see you next time. Have a good day, everybody. I wasn't going to add anything else to this video because this was just a really straightforward, simple backlight repair, but once this thing sat and charged the battery long enough and actually booted up, I seen something that made me want to add something to the end of this video. There are just some things in the screen replacement world that will drive you completely fucking crazy, and this is one of them. So this is an iPad mini 4 that I just finished repairing the backlight on. Let's see, let's open up an incognito tab here, and then let's open up, we're going to browse eBay. So here we go. We've got my screen capture on. We are in incognito mode so that you don't see all of my wife's personal purchases. Can't have that now, can we? And let's look. Let's just see. Let's see what we're going to pay for one of these screens. And it should come all in one piece, LCD and digitizer together. This is an iPad mini for touchscreen digitizer replacement. So let's have a look at this one here. It's $33, and no doubt this is just going to be, yeah, this is just a piece of glass, okay? This is a piece of glass that comes with a little baggie of tools, all right? You're not going to install this on your iPad mini LCD without tearing shit up. This is not a product you're going to buy and put this on your iPad mini. So let's go back and let's look at something more realistic. Okay, 118 bucks. This is more realistic because this is going to have the LCD and the digitizer combined. And if we look around here, yeah, here's one that comes with a little baggie of tools and adhesive strips and the suction cup. They always got a suction cup, right? So we figure out, here's another one, 120 bucks. You know, so this is not my screen. This is the screen they sent with the mini. And so they paid 120 bucks for this, you know, no doubt. They probably didn't pay more. This is probably the lower end $120 screen. So the reason why I'm adding this to the video, this isn't a major deal, but when it comes to walk-in repair and people that are paying a good premium to get their screen fixed, if you're paying 100 bucks for the screen, how much are you charging to do this entire repair? In my experience, you should at least make enough to buy the part to fix the thing a couple of times when you're dealing with parts this expensive. You need to be able to lose your ass and not completely lose your ass. So here's this iPad mini. They spent 120 bucks on this screen, and I'm going to show you what it is that makes me so irritated about this iPad mini. Because it's now charged up enough to turn on. Let's see if I can get this glare off the screen, and let's see if I can show you this. I'm going to turn it on. We are on this bright white. Let's see, we were on a bright white screen. Okay, we have a working home button and working touch. Okay, you can somewhat see it now. If you get down to the bottom of the screen, huh? You see these dark spots? When this thing was very first booting, okay, let's see, we do have a passcode, right? Do we have an emergency mode? No, because it's a mini. Gosh, that's, damn it. Here I go trying to plan stuff. But these dark spots down here, it's quite apparent. You know, keep in mind, this is a crappy 720p camera that I'm showing you that through. It just doesn't do this justice. So whenever you're sitting here and you're looking at this iPad mini, and it's got, let's see if I can get my face out of it, it might actually focus on me. It's got these really, really, really dark blotches at the bottom of the screen. And it's not as apparent on the colored screen, but when that sucker's on a bright white screen, it's very apparent. When that thing came on, I thought, oh, God. I'm glad that's not my screen. You know, I know a lot of these companies, they're doing their best to manufacture these screens. They're doing their best to stay away from these sort of defects, but they're in this for money too. So when it comes to these defects that could possibly be brushed under the rug, you know, they're gonna sell as much of that as they can because they have to. They've got to pay the bills too. So this here is kind of a crappy deal. There's no way in hell I'm going to fully reassemble this iPad, especially with that, because this company might wish to take this screen and send it back and get it exchanged. It sort of depends on how picky the customer is. You never know whenever somebody, whenever they're going to leave and be gone 5 minutes and come right back and say, hey, what is this? Or if they're going to notice some little defect at the front counter, like I nitpick over a piece of fuzz. Like whenever I was doing iPad screens and I would get that thing to the front counter and I would look and there would be the tiniest little fragment of dust, it would drive me batshit crazy. And I would do crazy stuff like discount them, and I would offer, you know, I would cut a little bit of money off the bill. And most people would look at it and say, what? What are you talking about? You know, most people just wouldn't give a rat's ass. But once in a while, you'll have that guy that walks in and spots the tiniest little bit of flaw, and he will absolutely lose his mind on you and degrade you and talk to you and mouth you about your pricing and how much he paid. So, you know, this sucks. this is a bad deal. If it was me doing screen repairs and I wind up with blotches that were that dark, you know, I'd probably either be sending this screen back. I might feel the customer out a little bit and see what their thoughts are on it. Or, you know, at this point, I might just lick my wounds and install it at cost, because now this guy, he's got this screen that's not the best of quality, but it's probably a really decent screen. It's just got these little spots down at the bottom. But see, now he's got my backlight repair in it. He's got the cost of the screen in it. I'm going to try to go really easy on this guy because he's probably losing his ass. So everybody, I hope you have successful repairs. I'm going to move on. That was my iPad Mini 4 for the day. Next up is going to be something in this cluster over here. I might close my eyes and point. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Thanks for watching.